How we doing, guys? Welcome back to Edgar TV. The predictions are over. It's now time to get serious. It's now time to start looking at the world rankings and how they're going to change during the World Championships. Now, we don't know how players are going to perform at the World Championships, but we're going to take a look today at players that are defending big money at the World Championship and players that can't really defend it. Now, this list is not quite as big as normal. Normally, we look at something like the World Match Play and we look at the ranking, and it changes quite a lot in regards to who's not in the event, who was in it a couple of years ago. This year, there's only really two people of any sort of relevancy in regards to that regard, and that is Jose de Sousa, the highest ranked player not in the event. He did reach the fourth round a couple of years ago, beating Simon Whitlock by 3-2, who is likely to lose his tour card during the World Championships. Ryan Searle by 4-3 in an amazing comeback, and then lost out to Gerwyn Price by 4-1. £35,000 coming off the Order of Merit for Jose de Sousa, who just continues to slip down the Order of Merit, and £35,000 from the £174,000 he is defending is going to see him slide even further. Depending on if he can recover his form or not will also depend on how we sort of evaluate next year, where he's not guaranteed any major events other than the UK Open and now the World Masters. We could see Jose de Sousa slip out the top 64. Another player who could slip out the top 64, Boris Krichmar. Not in this event. He was in it a couple of years ago, got £15,000. That's going to come off his Order of Merit. He goes into the World Championships on £85,000. Losing the 15 will drop him to 70. Currently, on the live in-play Order of Merit, Boris Krichmar is world number 63, so he's got a little bit of a cushion in regards to the overall rankings. Steve Beaton handing back his card and going off to the Seniors Tour means that will drop down to position number 65. Now, for those that don't understand, Steve Beaton's in the top 64, which means he hands his card back, it will stay on the rankings. We've got situations such as the Leighton Bennett scenario where he's banned and unable to sort of retain his card. Because he's not in the top 64, that doesn't go to the overall top 64 going down to 66. That goes back to Q School. It's only if the player is in the top 64 it stays within that system. Otherwise, it's going to be an extra card over at Q School. So they're the only two real players of relevance. Now, what we're not going to do is not going to pick out your players who was in this a couple of years ago who have now lost their cards, such as, let's say, a Mervyn King, for example, because we know their scenario. I've done videos on them before. If you want to see those, they're right here on Edgar TV. Go check them out and hit that subscribe button. But we're now going to look at the players that are defending big money. Let's start with the quarter-finalists. Let's start with Chris Dobey. £50,000 is going to come off the Order of Merit for Chris Dobey. He's currently world number 15. The 50th grand's going to come off, knocking him outside the top 16 temporarily. But I do think the way in which this tournament is sort of going to go, I think Chris Dobey's going to have a good run. I think he's going to actually retain. I wouldn't be surprised if he gets through to quarters, semi-finals. So I think he's going to be capable of doing that. Johnny Clayton will be comfortably inside the top 16, despite the fact he's spending £50,000. He's going to be covering £15,000 of that anyway, so he's only got 35 to lose, even if he goes out first round. I think he's looking quite good. Stephen Bunting, defending £50,000 for a quarter-final, and this is really his only big earning on there. And with the way the Premier League's going, if he can defend that, I wouldn't be surprised to see him in the Premier League. Gerwyn Price, £35,000 to come off for him, because remember, he's got 15 going in there, which does slide him towards the bottom end of the top 16. So depending on the other results, and depending on how next year starts, we could see Gerwyn Price outside the top 16. That being said, I think we do start to see the best again from Gerwyn Price moving forward, that's for sure. That's £50,000. The World Championship is so heavily weighted, certainly to the latter stages. If you have a bit of a surprise run, in a couple of years' time, you're going to be paying for it. And that's what happened to Gabriel Clements. A couple of years ago, reached a semi-final, beating William O'Connor, Jim Williams, Alan Suter, Gerwyn Price, before losing out to the eventual world champion, then Michael Smith. £100,000 due to come off Gabriel Clements, who is sat currently £304,000 as the world number 27. If we was to take the £100,000 off now, he would drop all the way down to around about world number 38. He will get £15,000 of that back, but for Gabriel Clements realistically to get himself back in the world's top 32 or to end in the world's top 32 come the end of this, he needs at least a quarter-final and results to go his way. So a bit of a slide here for the German. That being said, I think he could pick up a couple of wins, but he's not going to be defending £100,000 by my pre-tournament predictions. That being said, I didn't predict to get to the semi-final before, so what do I know? Dimitri Vandenberg is also defending £100,000. The man who picked up the UK Open title earlier in the year, and that was a big win for him. Now is the world number 11. Take off £100,000 and he's comfortably outside the top 16. So just shows how important those TV results have been for Dimitri Vandenberg. He did have a good run in this a couple of years ago, lost to Michael van Gerwen in the end after beating Lawrence Alagan, Christoph Ratajski, Kim Huybrechts and Chris Dobie along the way. But I think Dimitri Vandenberg ends the World Championships outside the world's top 16. That is a genuine possibility as well for our world champion Michael Smith, defending £500,000, goes into it. When I say defending, I mean defending the prize money World Championships. Luke Humphries is defending the actual title. £500,000 to come off Michael Smith would knock him down from 890,000 world number 2 to world number 21 with 390. Obviously, everyone else has got other money and things to put on there. Michael Smith got 15 grand himself, which would see him on to 405,000, which as things stand would be £20,000 outside of the top 16. So there's a genuine chance here we could lose Michael Smith out there, which would then genuinely put him in major doubts for possible Premier League. A position that the runner-up of this event, Michael van Gerwen, would still be. Remember, the top 4 is your Premier League place. Now, Michael van Gerwen defended £200,000 from this year's World Championship, or 2 years ago's World Championship. That would put him on 630. As things stand, keeps him inside the world's top 4, which, depending how he does, he could stay in the top 4. And the top 4 is where the Premier League places are. So I do think Michael van Gerwen's going to be safe in regards to picking up a Premier League spot from that top 4. It just depends how he holds up. He's got a tough section of the draw, and he's got Gary Anderson en route, a player I think is personally going to make the final. If all this happens, if these players don't have those runs, if someone who's not quite close to the pace doesn't win the World Championship, that means Luke Littler will move to world number 2. Certainly at the start of the event, when the event starts and the live in-play and the live World Championship rankings begin and all the money comes off, Luke Littler will temporarily become the world number 2 in 1 year at 17 years old. Absolutely bonkers, isn't it, when you think about it like that? But what a season he's had. And that's not even considering the fact that those non-ranked events he's won in the World Series and on the Premier League stage as well. So that's all the people that are going to lose. I'm going to let you know all the people that are pretty much here to gain. We're going to look at people who could reach the top 16, reach the top 32. That's going to be coming before the start of the World Championship. So hit that subscribe button. We'll get closer to that 100,000 subscriber mark over this period of time during the World Championships. I'm going to be live pretty much every day, and I'll catch you soon. Some more Edgar TV.